A Native American story written and told by Ashley Smith. Hundreds of years ago, Native American Indians lived very differently than we do today. There are many different tribes or types of American Indians. Many of these tribes lived on the Great Plains of America. The many tribes that lived on the plains moved around a lot because they followed herds of bison. Following the bison was important because that was one of their main sources of food. Usually the hunters were men, but sometimes the women were hunters as well. The Native Americans used bison for more than just food. They used the horns to make spoons to help them eat. Bones were commonly used to make tools and weapons. The skin of bison was used to make shoes and clothing such as dresses, leggings, jackets, or shirts. It was even used to make jewelry such as bracelets and necklaces. The bison's bladder was sometimes used to make bags for medicine or other things. The fat from the bison was used to make soap. The thick fur was used to make blankets or clothes to help keep them warm in the winter. Other animals that Native Americans hunted for food were elk, deer, and sometimes even smaller animals such as rabbits or rodents. Plains Indians originally would go out and gather other sources of food besides the meat. They gathered berries, roots, and other edible plants. Eventually, they began to grow their own crops such as corn and tobacco. Plains Indians that moved around a lot lived in teepees. Teepees are tent-like houses or shelters that can be easily set up and taken down. Women were usually the ones in charge of gathering the materials and building the teepees. They also had many other jobs. For example, they gathered firewood, prepared and cooked meals, and made a variety of things such as clothing and tools. There were medicine men and women in the tribe. Their job was to take care of the sick and the hurt people. They would gather herbs and give treatments to people who needed to heal. Sometimes the men would help the women build things, cook, or gather supplies, but most of the time the men were hunters and warriors. Feathered war bonnets or headdresses were usually worn by warrior men who did something brave to protect his tribe. Every time he did something courageous, he received another feather to add to his headdress. Many times, these feathers came from eagles or hawks. Native Americans are an important group of people. Their history and culture is very fascinating, and it is also a great part of our American history.